Is anyone picking you up?
Yeah, there's this guy Henry that's gonna give me a ride to Deer Creek. He'll be there waiting for me.
Okay, but just be careful, you know?
Oh, honey, I'll be fine. This isn't my first trip exactly, but...
Yeah, I know. But still. Have you thought about where you want to go when you come back?
maybe we could go to Greece. Or Italy? I think Amanda would love it. You know how much she loves mythology.
Sounds lovely. Let's decide when you get back. Is everything packed?
Yeah, I've checked the list twice. Everything's packed. And most importantly, the Supermom socks that you and Amanda got me.
Have you washed them?
Oh, you gotta wash socks?
But anyways, it's
Oh
real.
shit, the taxi's already here. I gotta get going, honey. Remember to pack her clothes for tomorrow. Her dino is on the green sofa, okay? Love you, hun. Give her a kiss from me, okay? Okay, bye. Oh, this will be perfect. Thank you, Henry. I should grab my stuff and get going. The fire died out during the night and I'm freezing. The matches I brought shouldn't run out, and my journal keeps me on track on what to do. I better make a fire. I don't want to come back to a freezing cold cabin. Henry already prepared the firewood. Ugh, should be fine just tossing a match in. I doubt I'll get any warmer immediately, but once I come back, there hopefully will be some warmth in here. It's the list of reminders Henry left. Mostly common sense stuff, like making sure to get a fire going before bed. Perfect fit. Everything should be good to go. I try not to interfere with the history of the places I visit, but I can't help myself collecting old photographs. I am a photographer, after all. A small family of 3. I found this in the cabin. I suppose they stayed there? It says Thomas Adams, Mary Adams, and Rosalind Adams on the backside. At the back of the north wind. Bedtime story, I'd assume. I should focus on mapping out the place first. Now to take the reference photo. I hear the wind howling outside. Yeah, I saw the wagon just a minute ago. I went straight forward from there.
Good. And you went up a small hill?
That's right. I'm a bit out of breath after the climb, actually.
Just keep going forward and you'll see the camp soon.
There it is. I can see it. I can see the camp.
Now, listen up. It is important that you always keep your radio on.
Henry? Can you hear me? What the hell is going on here? Strange. This is a military-grade flashlight. It shouldn't just give up like that. The moonlight is strong enough for me to see where I'm going, though. I'll be fine. This looks like an office. This huge painting kind of dominates the whole room. I guess it was meant to. This must be the foreman of the camp. This painting, it almost feels like it's staring at me. There's something strange about the eye. It's a metal disc with a hollowed out center. I'll put this in the backpack in case I want to read it later. It's a group photo, probably of the people who lived here. Their names are written on the back, along with their roles. What a motherly aura this woman gives off, and it's just a photograph. Dora Evans worked in the cookhouse. Man, I bet she had her hands full keeping the men well fed. Jane Miller. It reads she worked in the infirmary and also in the cookhouse. She looks concerned. This is Samuel Levine, the shopkeeper. Bit slimmer than the others, with sharp eyes. My goodness, what a gaze this man has. This is Edgar Flynn, a logger. He looks like he's carved from stone. I sure wouldn't want to get into an argument with him if I were one of the other loggers. A woman with long blonde hair, just like the man to her right. She's beautiful. That's Linda Grady, the teacher. Clearly much younger than the rest. Morgan Wright worked as a logger. Quite handsome, actually. I wonder what brought him here. A rugged-looking man with deep-set eyes. The mustache really frames his face. That's Sam Barnes, the camp's blacksmith. Hank Grady, logger. His blonde hair makes him stand out from the others. There's a weariness in his eyes. There's a woman with the same hair. Maybe they're siblings? Norman Jeffrey. He looks to be almost 2 meters tall. Unlike the others, there's no job listed for him. Thomas Adams, foreman. He looks pretty stern. I suppose you had to be running an operation like this. Quite an elegant suit for a logging camp, though. Mary Adams, wife of the foreman. She didn't seem to have had any real duties, as none are mentioned. My gosh, she looks so pale and weary. This large, burly man is Charles Miller, a logger. Damn, those shoulders could probably carry a whole tree. They were made of sterner stuff, these men, that's for sure. October 14th, 1887. The men left this morning as dawn broke. I pray the Lord will guide them. October 15th, 1887. Yesterday's search was fruitless. The men could not find any trace and came back empty-handed today as well. October 16th, 1887. There's no more text. It seems like they were looking for someone. I wonder what happened. drawer is locked. Of course it is. It's out of oil. An ink blotter, a dried up bottle of ink, and an old wax stamp. I won't need any of them. No point in carrying old junk around, even if it's antique. Looks like an infirmary. Guess the workers got hurt regularly. I should focus on mapping out the place first. Rusted, locked, or frozen shut. Either way, it won't open. What a scene. This will be a great shot when I bring my medium format. Let's get the reference photos done before anything else. This must be where the men slept and rested during their free time. There's a mirror on the wall. Strange to think that the men looked in this exact same mirror while shaving 100 years ago. Jesus Christ. No. I shouldn't let my imagination get the better of me. The bellows has ripped. I suppose the men entertained themselves with music in their spare time. What's this? Seems like a hastily drawn overview of the area. I guess it shows where the men worked. Levine went east towards Peregrine Peak. Miller covered the woods to the south of the foreman's cabin. Flynn covered both the south and the north. He must have been quite the woodsman. Barnes ventured west towards the western brook. Flynn covered both the south and the north. He must have been quite the woodsman. I don't smoke. I should focus on getting my reference photos before I start altering the past. Those are all the nearby buildings, but there must be more to Deer Creek than this. I'll have a look around. I can see the camp extending in the distance. This must be the creek from which the camp got its name. The bridge connecting the two parts of the campsite has been completely demolished. Maybe this could work as a makeshift bridge if I could just find a way to fell it. I should be able to find something in the filer's shack. There were plenty of tools lying around in there. I guess I need to find something to get that tree down, even if it means meddling with the past. Yeah, I can't just not try to get to the other side. A thick leather apron. Looks well made. Oh, there's something inside the pocket. It's an old photograph. Sam Barnes and Hank Grady seemed close. I might need to reconsider moving stuff around. Otherwise, I won't make it to the other side. This might come in handy. Should I need to make a fire? This'll work perfectly. It's locked. Let's see if I can get this thing open. Come on, you bastard. Who were you, old soldier? Looks like Hank Grady served in the Union Army during the war. There's a distant look in his eyes, like part of him never made it back. It's not all that heavy. It's a bit flimsy and really blunt, but I think I should be able to sharpen it. There's a workbench over here. I'll grab a few. They might come in handy. Just old junk left behind by the blacksmith. I think this will work, but it's going to take forever. I'll head back to the cabin and sharpen it there. The last flame died a long, long time ago. That's all the reference photos. Time to head back to the cabin and get started sharpening the axe. Good grief, it's cold. I'll toss some logs into the fire and get started on sharpening the axe. If I can get this thing sharp enough, I just might be able to fell that tree. This trip certainly starts out differently.
Mrs. Adams, I would advise keeping a journal. It may prove beneficial in alleviating your condition. At first, I did not know what to make of Dr. Williamson's recommendation. At the time, I thought nothing of it, as he was yet another man of medicine, attempting to somehow distract me from my melancholy, as they had seemed to giving up on finding a cure for my condition. I cannot say that I blame them. I have lived with this affliction for so long, I failed to remember what it was like to be without it. If ever such a time truly existed, how the keeping of a journal might be of any use, I do not know, but I suppose it is worth the attempt. The men began to fell the trees nearby and framing the buildings. I must admit, it's quite impressive to behold the manner in which these closely bound men work, with steady hands and quiet efficiency. And as dusk falls, we gather around the cast iron stoves we brought to rest from the day's hard work. I watched Thomas as we traveled deeper into the land. I sensed his growing anxiety, as the terrain proved far more impassable than what he had been promised back in the city. The promise of untapped land had been too great a lure. He had set his mind upon proving himself a man of industry. And in that desperation, I fear he placed too much faith in the words of a silver-tongued land broker. There was no turning back though, only forward. He maintained his composure in front of the men, but I could sense his doubts about this endeavor. I didn't want to burden him even further with inquiry, so I kept quiet. Regardless, the men continued their diligent work, and within a few weeks' time, quarters for the men and women were erected. A cookhouse and a barn had their roofs laid. It felt wondrous, seeing civilization take shape upon this most wild of frontiers. We were meant to reach Deer Creek much earlier, but, as with many aspects of this endeavor, things proved far more difficult than anticipated. I feared the circumstances would be hard on Rosie, but she surprised me, as she so often does, playing with and cherishing every small insect and creature she came across. She even sat beside the loggers and chatted, much to Thomas' dismay and my ill-concealed merriment.
Mr. Flynn, did you know that I love dancing? I had a dream last night that I was a ballerina. A real ballerina. How old are you? Have you always had such a thick mustache? I'll be turning 8 in 2 weeks, and I've wished for a horse. Because I love horses. And butterflies, too. They're so beautiful. Do you have any wishes for your birthday, Mr. Flynn?
Yeah. Peace and quiet.
Oh, Mr. Flynn, you can't give someone peace and quiet because it's not a thing.
Well, I wish it were.
That'll leave a blister. One thing is for certain, I'm no blacksmith, but hopefully it's sharp enough. At the back of the north wind. Bedtime story, I'd assume. It's a beautiful embroidery of a horse. Shouldn't the sun be up by now? What's going on here? Good thing I'm wearing gloves. This rag is dirty, very dirty. They could prove useful. Well, that's the end of that axe. The other side of the camp. I wonder what these buildings were for. A dining hall. Cutlery's left on the table as if they simply disappeared. Such a great photograph. Seems like Hank, over a cup of coffee, said something Flynn didn't agree with. Nothing interesting about this. They feel heavy, probably still filled with grain or flour. A storehouse. Damn, it looks like a storm went through. Christ. It's an antique cash register. It's just an old rusted coffee can. I'll take a closer look. I usually don't do this, but this might hold some clues to what happened here. Hey, would you look at that? There's a ledger inside. S. Levine, General Store, Deer Creek, 1887. This might have some answers. What's this? Seems like someone didn't want anyone to enter or leave. This lock looks solid, heavy. I wonder who kept all the keys. The foreman? Issued to Mr. Hank Grady. Pipe tobacco, 1/2 pound. Chamomile tea, 1 tin. Charged to his account, a modest aid against restless nights and wandering dreams. Duly noted. Issued to Mr. Barnes. Coffee, 3 pounds. Sugar, 1 pound. Charged to his account. Supplied generously to sustain the evenings he spends with Mr. Grady at the forge, sharing coffee and conversation while seeing to small projects left from the day. Duly noted. Provisioned unto Ms. Dora Evans for cookery. Salt pork, 12 pounds. Sugar, 5 pounds. Tallow, 4 pounds. Set against company board. Stores remain sound. Issued to Jeffrey. Peppermint drops, 1 pound. Molasses taffy, 1 tin. Charged to his account. Curious quantity for a grown man, yet duly noted. Issued to Mr. Miller. Worker boots, 1 pair. Shoelaces, 1 pair. Can of leather grease, 1 can. Charged to his account. For use in camp, duly noted. Issued to Mr. Flynn. Pipe tobacco, 1/2 pound. Matches, 1 box. Charged to his account. Enough to keep the pipe lit, though not the purse. Duly noted. Miller and Grady came to blows over a disagreement at the timber line. Words escalated quickly, and before anyone could intervene, Grady had Miller on the ground with fractured ribs. We'll have to spend 2 weeks in the infirmary before being able to return to work. I have observed a certain familiarity between Mrs. Miller and Mr. Wright whenever they are together in the storehouse. It seems unseemly, and such improprieties can serve no good purpose in this camp or in Mr. Adams' business dealings. I shall leave it for now. Mrs. Adams entered the storehouse just before closing. The 3 men at the counter, Wright, Flynn, and Miller, fell silent at once. I could barely hear her as she spoke in a faint voice, asking for soap and candles for the foreman's cabin. She kept her head bowed, her gaze fixed upon the counter, and did not meet my eyes throughout the errand. The men said nothing, merely watching as she stood by. Goods supplied and charged to the company account, duly noted. Seems to be some sort of living quarters. Should ignite with a match. It should burn for a long time. I've never really read the Bible, but I've heard this passage. It's pretty hefty. Must be made of wood. There's a large hairpin in its hair. To hell with it. I'm taking it. All pages are blank. Looks like the children captured their own view of the world by drawing it. Songs of the Forest. The word begged is heavily circled. There's a grid showing where to place the pegs, I'd assume. The trapped dancer. More circling. A cage this time. The grid markings are no longer visible. This explains how a tone wheel for the music box works. Placing pegs in the right spots makes it play a melody. Damn it, the tone wheel key is stuck. It won't turn.
It's a laundry room. There's a mangler next to a large wash tub. A small key was left on the shelf. I wonder where it goes. Seems to be a tub for cleaning clothes. Huh, they left some things in there. That's one solid block of ice. It's a bit rickety. Maybe there's a way to get it loose. A gentle knock should do it.
The ice still hasn't melted. It'll need more time.
Looks like a barn. The rope is surprisingly light. Air is thick with dust. What is this? A small metal ring. A piece of machinery? You poor thing. Trapped in the stall, to starve and freeze to death. Why? Why would they do such a thing? Oh, I wonder what this building is. Looks like a church, but there's no cross. A school, maybe? Ugh, it's no use. The door is blocked from the inside. I should take a look around.
The door's blocked, so this might be the only way. It still feels like a bad idea, though.
Oh, goddamn, my shoulder. Oh, fucking hell. Well, that was stupid. I'm not telling Peter about this.
Yeah, it seems like the window is my only way in. Hopefully I can find something that can help me reach it. Perhaps a ladder or a rope?
This crane is massive.
There's no way. The handle actually fits.
I bet this is going to be heavy.
I'm sure this will end up being useful. This should work. I'll tie the rope to the hook. Made it, in one piece. That should be all the buildings in the camp, but I can't shake the feeling that there's something about that locked door. What's this? It describes the way a phonautograph works, the world's first sound recorder. Gives some perspective as of how long ago it was the people of Deer Creek resided here. It's a thorough mechanical explanation on how the tumbler lock works. I think I should be able to pick locks from now on. I wonder if the locked drawer over at the foreman's office is a tumbler lock. Could be. A picture of a teacher and her class. Red noses and red cheeks. It must have been a chilly day when they took this picture. I can't find any names, but I'm quite sure that's Rosalind Adams in the front. Let's have a look. Recently, I've worked with Alfred on his letters and words. He stumbles, hesitates, and often grows frustrated with himself, yet he does not give up. I can see the struggle in his small shoulders, and even though my heart aches for his struggles, he has got to learn for himself. This morning, he read his first full paragraph without faltering. I could sense the other children held their breath as he laboriously made it from word to word until the end. My heart swells with pride. In a place so harsh, these small sparks of learning are like sunlight breaking through the clouds. Today, I watched little Rosalind as she explored the pages of her book with eyes wide as the morning sky. She asks questions that tumble out like the rushing creek, each one more eager than the last. Her laughter is as bright as her curiosity is unyielding. I marvel at the way she devours knowledge, as though the world itself were a story waiting for her alone. In her, I see the purest joy of learning. May the Lord keep her spirit unbroken, for children like her remind me why I came here at all. I pray that God grant me the wisdom to guide these children with love, not fear. In this wilderness where life and circumstance weigh heavy on the heart and mind, and where all wrestle with their hardships and sorrows, that I may be a beacon of mercy and patience for the little ones. Some evenings, I feel as though Deer Creek sits at the very end of the world. The forest looms like a great wall around us. The bristles of the trees hum in the wind, as if the trees were whispering secrets to one another. The men return from the logging grounds with faces chapped by cold and weariness. It is a hard place, and at times, a lonely one. Tonight, the lantern flickers weakly, fighting the drafts that creep in through the boards. Nights like these, I find solace in the scripture. God is our refuge and strength, a very present help in trouble. The words felt written for this place, for this very night. As I read these passages, although the wind outside still howls, the cold still gnaws, and the shadows press close, I am reminded that even here, in this harsh and distant corner of the earth, I am held. The Lord's presence reaches farther than any wilderness, and with that truth resting in my heart, I find comfort to meet another day. Today, as the cold wind cut through the camp, I reflected just how far from the world we are. I felt once more the quiet comfort of having Hank near, silent, vigilant, and actionable. I cannot help but think of the life he has carried before arriving here. The war, the rangers, the horrors no one dares to speak aloud. I see it in his face, in the distance that sets in upon his eyes at times, as if a dark bird, just from nowhere, lands upon his soul. How utterly cruel the world has been to him, to force a soul so capable of love and compassion to endure such unimaginable darkness. My heart aches with gratitude and sorrow alike. How can one so worn by the world still care so wholly for another? I love my brother dearly, more than words can hold, and I pray that somehow, in this wilderness, we might find solace together. The Lord may have carried me far from home, but he has left me my brother, and for that, I am endlessly thankful. I pray fervently that the Lord someday will grant him peace and mercy for the things he was led into. My heart is heavy with the weight of what I cannot take back, and I tremble at the thought that the Lord's mercy may not reach me. How can I stand before him, knowing I have faltered so grievously? How utterly cruel is the Lord to set me before such a choice. I'm sure the foreman was the one holding all the keys in camp. Hopefully, I'll be able to find something in here. That'll do. I think I should be able to pick locks with this. Let's see if I can get this thing open. Guess that little crash course in lockpicking actually paid off. Maybe it fits the storehouse lock. It's worth a try. I hope you don't mind me looking, Thomas. I might learn something useful from this. The Northern Pacific Trust and Savings Bank, Seattle, Washington, August 11th, 1887. To Mr. Thomas Adams, 16 Montlake Boulevard, Montlake, Seattle. Despite previous notices, your account with this bank remains unpaid beyond the grace afforded. Unless a partial payment is received by 20th November 1887, we shall be compelled to begin foreclosure and sale of your dwelling at the above address. It is our sincere hope you will act promptly to avoid such measures. The bank remains willing to accept any earnest payment offered without delay, as it is our preference to preserve the dignity and solvency of our clients rather than exercise our right of seizure. Respectfully, J. H. Whitmore, Senior Clerk, Collections Department, the Northern Pacific Trust and Savings Bank. Miss Evans is a diligent worker and held in high esteem by the men, proving herself a considerable asset to the camp. Her knack for turning modest provisions into hearty and satisfying fare does much to sustain the men's spirits and preserve the industrious temper essential to our operations. I have, however, been obliged to remind her, firmly, of the proper order of authority between her position and mine in matters of dispute. I fear Miss Evans does not yet fully grasp the discipline and hierarchy upon which the camp must rely. Nonetheless, I intend to renew her contract, for the worth she brings to the camp far outweighs the modest wages she commands. Mr. Flynn must surely be the hardest-working lumberman in the entire Northwest. Possessed of remarkable strength and endurance, he performs near twice the labor of any ordinary man, and I see to it that he is duly compensated for such exertions. His physical presence, too, appears to exert a calming influence over the other men when disputes or disagreements arise. I am given to understand that Mr. Flynn carries with him a past of some complexity, yet that is no concern of mine so long as he fulfills his duties here at Deer Creek, which he does with exemplary discipline. His contract shall most certainly be renewed. Mr. Levine divides his time between the forest work and managing the camp's dealings with the men through the store, and he is well aware of the margins I expect to see upheld. His loyalty is unwavering, and he is keenly attuned to the undercurrents within the camp, those matters that do not reach me in my official dealings with the workforce. We have already come to an agreement regarding an extension of his contract. I regret the day I engaged Mr. Jeffrey's services. I freely admit that I owed his cousin Eugene a favor for the doors he had opened for me, but never again. While I can, to a degree, sympathize with the sorrow Mr. Jeffrey has endured in connection with the accident, a misfortune no man should suffer. The fact remains that he is utterly incapable of performing a single task without delaying or complicating matters for the others in the camp. This leads me to the conclusion that his employment should be terminated at the earliest opportunity. He also appears unable to conduct himself properly among the other men, and so, to reduce the risk of disputes, I have had the storeroom in the store cleared and placed Mr. Jeffrey there. Miss Grady arrived here with her brother Hank to undertake her first year of teaching. She appears to be held in high regard by the pupils, possessing a manner of regard that compels a child to straighten himself of his own accord, not from fear of the rod, but from a desire not to disappoint her. Her steadfast study of the scriptures, which she frequently cites for guidance in morality and diligence, seems to vex some in the camp, though not to an extent that demands any adjustment. Mr. Grady insisted upon accompanying his younger sister here for her first year of teaching. He has informed me that he served in the war as a young man, and subsequently spent several years working as a ranger. I suspect that Mr. Grady is haunted by the experiences he endured, as the other men have complained that he rouses them at night on account of his nightmares. I fear he is not entirely in command of himself, having found himself in conflict with certain men here. Some time ago, Mr. Miller was confined to the sickbed for 2 weeks with a fractured rib following a dispute. I reprimanded Mr. Grady with emphasis and informed him that a deduction from his wages would be made, equivalent to twice the labor Mr. Miller was unable to perform, yet it appeared to trouble him not at all. I shall not renew Mr. Grady's contract. He is far too unpredictable. If this necessitates that Miss Grady also departs Deer Creek, then so be it. Mrs. Miller divides her duties between tending to the men in the infirmary, overseeing the laundry, and assisting in the kitchen when time permits. There is nothing to remark upon in the manner of her work. She performs her tasks without complaint and keeps to herself within the camp. I intend to renew the Miller's contract, given their circumstances. There were no difficulties negotiating wages with the Millers, as their starting position was limited after 2 poor years on their farm. They had, at the time they approached me, already sold most of their livestock and tools, and faced the grim reality that they would have to sell the land. Regrettable. As I understand, Charles was the 5th generation of Millers to tend the farm, but such is life. He seems, however, to have adapted to lumber work without difficulty. Mr. Miller has stated his intention to work diligently and conscientiously here at Deer Creek in order to reclaim the farm, though I suspect he does not fully comprehend the economic forces that govern the world. That is for him to discover, and so long as his ambition drives him to labor diligently here for a modest recompense, I shall not object. The reputation of Mr. Barnes reached me even before his application for work at Deer Creek. He was regarded as an exceptional smith and farrier, and such reports have proven entirely accurate. Not a single delay in production has arisen from broken or poorly maintained tools. Mr. Barnes is the sort of man who makes things run smoothly, without any fuss or display. Conscientious, honest, and upright. A good man. His contract shall be renewed.
Well, I'll be damned.
If these troubles of mine have taught me anything, it is a sorrowful truth that folks carry more within them than the world ever sees. Deep valleys in the heart, where grief lies quiet and unseen. I myself am probably looked on as a recluse, socially inept. That's likely. But I do not think anyone suspects the thoughts I'm haunted by. Everyone had their reasons for coming here. Some simply for work. Some I suspect to escape whatever past they wished on to escape. Miss Grady came here with her brother Hank from Spokane. He had been working in the mill, but followed her to Deer Creek for first year of teaching, as he knew of the rowdy ways of lumberjacks. From what Rosie tells me, Miss Grady is well loved by the children, though she can be somewhat rigid and difficult for the adults in the camp to be around. Whether this stems from a strict personality or simply being a devout reader of the good book amongst rough company, I cannot say. I don't know much about her brother Hank, as he seems rather withdrawn. Word is, he endured horrific experiences as a soldier during the war, and later as a ranger. Things that will break any man. Beyond that, I know little other details. Mr. Burns is an admittedly skilled blacksmith and farrier, but I don't really understand what brought him to Deer Creek, as he would probably be far better paid for his skills in the city. On the other hand, it is his sole business. I think I have only traded a few words with Mr. Barnes, but he seemed well respected and appreciated amongst the other men, dutiful and hardworking. As I'm told, when their farm's meager yield could no longer support them, Mr. and Mrs. Miller resolved to seek their fortune beyond its failing fields. Word reached them about logging prospects in Deer Creek, so they contacted Thomas, who hired them shortly thereafter. Charles as a logger, and Jane splitting her time between cooking under Mrs. Evans and running the laundry. She also tends to the men when they need care in the infirmary. Sometimes I fear Charles does not treat Mrs. Miller quite right, but I might be mistaken. I can't say what makes me feel that way. I just get the sense. I understand that Mr. Flynn has a bit of a troubled past and a temper. I would pity anyone that's on the receiving end of Mr. Flynn's upset, that's for certain. Word has it that 3 men sought to waylay him outside a tavern in Evansville, and it is said that none of them drew breath by the end of that night. Whether there is truth to it, I cannot say. Yet I sense there is honor in the man, and for reasons I cannot fully grasp, the children seems to adore him. I dare say, it appears the feeling is mutual. Thomas may be the foreman of the camp, but Miss Evans might well be its heart. She runs the cookhouse, and her meals are beloved by the men. I dare say, Mr. Flynn harbors a fondness for her. I appreciate Miss Evans' directness. She treats everyone the same, caring little for social standing or surname, and she possesses a good and steady heart. Though she stands no taller than my shoulder, her presence is commanding in a way that is difficult to describe. She can even quieten my husband on occasion, and I believe he respects her all the more for it. Judge not lest you be judged, as the good book says, And I can't think of any other place that's more true than in Deer Creek. But one thing has stuck in my mind since a few weeks ago. I don't know if I should just leave it be or not. I do trust Thomas' judgment, for as who he employs or not, it is not that. But there's still something that bothers me. Thomas hired Mr. Jeffrey solely as a favor to his cousin, Eugene Jackson, a business acquaintance from Thomas' days in the grain trade, to whom he owes a considerable debt. Mr. Jeffrey soon proved himself ill-suited for logging or any task requiring a sense of responsibility, or precision, for that matter. Thus, he was given the role of bull cook. He fetches water from the creek, ensures there's firewood in the quarters, and sees to the feeding of the horses. One remark I once overheard Mr. Grady make in passing about Mr. Jeffrey has stayed with me. The man is not proper up there. I believe Mr. Grady merely gave voice to a suspicion I too had begun to harbor. That there is something not quite right in that man. This meek-looking man, with nothing distinct about him save for his considerable height and the weariness in his eyes, should not, on the surface, be cause for concern. To most, he might even come across as incapable. Rosie delights in tending to the horses with him, and I find myself unsure on how to approach this predicament, for the man has done nothing to warrant suspicion, and Rosie loves the horses more than anything in the world. Yet, lately, he has begun to appear in my dreams, or rather, in my nightmares. Though I cannot say why, I shall keep these thoughts to myself, for I cannot let Rosie suffer on account of my unease or superstition.
It wasn't just a nightmare. This is real. What happened to that man? I must have fainted when I got back. Jesus Christ, my back feels completely busted up. I knew there was something behind that door, but I would have never imagined something like this. I can't just ignore this. I have to find out what happened here. Not for the project or myself, but for him. Jesus Christ. What cruelty to leave a man like this. What is this thing? There are small, star-shaped engravings on the top part, but it seems like there are two pieces missing. It looks like some sort of box? There doesn't seem to be any keyhole, though. They're all empty. Children's drawings. A man with a horse and a little girl. I'm not sure why, but I have a feeling I should take this with me. There's something rattling inside. There's something rattling inside the cane head. I should be able to pull the remaining splinters out. An oddly shaped key was hidden inside the cane head. This won't fit in any regular lock. What was the foreman hiding? I need to learn more. Forgive me. Is this a letter? It reads, "To whoever might find this letter, my name is Norman Jeffrey, and I was left to die in this room. But it doesn't matter, since everything I care for has been ripped from me. I have nothing left in this world to my name. I know the Lord will have mercy on my soul, for he knows I am innocent. I will see you soon, Maddie, that I may once more stroke your golden hair. I saw you in her, and I guess that was my crime. Wait for me among the stars." The camp has been silent for hours. I think they all left this morning. My head is feeling so heavy and I can't keep my hands from shaking. I don't think I will make it through the night. Oh my God. Is that a locket? The key from inside the cane fits. This must be the foreman's doing. A metal cylinder? There's some engravings on it. A piece of paper hidden inside. 1871. I'll bring this with me. I doubt I'll need this cylinder anymore, though. The safe unlocks. I'm definitely bringing this. Mary at the Tower, 1887. I wonder if there's any notes on the backside. My dear Thomas, should you ever care to visit, keep watch for these marks along the path. There are instructions written as to how to reach the tower. There's supposed to be a path next to the school building. I trust this finds you in good health. I write to entreat a small favor. My cousin, Norman Jeffrey, a man of honest character and steadfast industry, has of late been visited by a terrible calamity that has left him robbed of family and dwelling. He is struggling to regain his footing in his new situation. I should be much obliged if you could find a place for him in your new enterprise. Your consideration would mean more than I can say, and I am confident he will prove himself entirely worthy. With sincere regards, Eugene Jackson. Timber Claim and Land Purchase Notice. Deer Creek Territory, September 3rd, 1885. Let it be recorded that Thomas Adams has this day lawfully purchased the tract of land bordering Deer Creek, designated in the Territorial Land Register as Survey Lot Number 17, Section 425C, including all standing timber thereon for the purpose of logging and removal. The consideration paid, together with full receipt thereof, is duly recorded in a separate bill of sale, appended to this claim and filed under Register Entry Number 1880-DC-042. Signed by Thomas Adams, witnessed by Robert Morrison. There's some sort of structure on top of that hill. It seems like there's a path next to the school. I can use the directions on the backside of the photograph to guide me through the woods. When you come upon a clearing with paths leading north, east, and south, pray take the northern way. When the forest bars your northern way and paths lead to the west and east, take the eastern path. Where 2 old trees stand, go north. There is said to be a hidden glade nearby, though I have never yet been able to find it. I'm deep into the woods now. What have I gotten myself into? A great rock lies at the center where the paths meet. Head west from there. After you have passed the great rock, you will find yourself in another clearing. From there, go north. At last. This is amazing. A picture of little Rosalind Adams. Diary of Mary Adams, 1887? This is incredible. The diary of the foreman's wife.
It is a strange thing to look back on the man Thomas once was. He was never what one might call passionate, but there was a steadiness in him, a clear sense of purpose that showed in his manner, and I think it was that resolve I found myself drawn to. I wonder now if that light has simply dimmed, or if I have forgotten how to see it. This valley, with all its trials and hardships, seemed to have taken something from him, worn him down in ways I cannot fully understand. Perhaps it is the weight he carries, the relentless matters of business, the torment of his back pain, and, I suspect, a quiet shame over how my condition might reflect upon him. I think of this tower as the last sign of what once existed between Thomas and me. He had 3 men set aside their duties to build this refuge for me, though it served none of his business interests. I find peace here, journaling the arrival and departure of birds and the changing of seasons. The others in the camp probably think of me as a recluse, and I guess they're not wrong in that. No one except for Rosie visits, and I prefer it that way. Despite the tranquility, my mind seemed to wander to melancholy topics by itself, almost as if it was led by a spectre. I tried to keep the thoughts at bay, but they wash over me. Perhaps it is so. The life moves ever toward its own undoing, and we with it, becoming a little more than the worn fragments of our better days. That every joyful thing seems to demand twice its weight in sorrow. I for sure do feel broken, as though I was not made for this world. An oddity that somehow slipped through some unseen crack into existence, where I ought never to have arrived. I hope not to pass my disposition on to Rosie, though thus far she seems cut from a brighter cloth than I. Books provide some relief from my woefulness, and Rosie's favorite was At the Back of the North Wind. She was usually asleep before we reached the part where they arrived at Diamond's home. How dearly I love you, If only you knew. If there is a light in this world, it is you. I have made myself a solemn promise. Whatever storm may stir within my chest, I shall not, let it wait upon your shoulders. But one thing I do seem forever destined to do is removing your hairpin. For you always forget to take it out before bed, silly girl.
I gotta get back before it gets even worse. Shit. Fuck. If I don't get back to the cabin, I'll freeze to death. If I get lost in the woods, I'm fucking done for. My hands are shaking. I could have died out there. These are not my footprints. Dear God. They end at the barrels. What? A hatch? There's an inscription. A lingering sorrow rests behind this door, spun from threads that link us four. For fate fell heavy upon our streak, and our stories were lost to the restless creek. What? Another inscription. It reads, "There is a hidden glade in the wood, where stands a hollow tree. It keeps what Mr. Grady and Mr. Barnes found in the stream. I saw it shining once, and since then there is only night." A hidden glade? What does that mean?
It's okay, I'm just imagining things. The ice has melted. This will be cold as shit, but thankfully there's dry cloths in here. Ugh, it's probably full of dead rats and rat shit. It's not a bracelet. It's a small metal ring. What was this used for? There is a hidden glade in the wood. Oh, there's something inside. What is it? A piece of gold. It's pretty heavy. I must have taken a wrong turn somewhere. The last flame died a long, long time ago. The coal won't burn by itself. I could try to smelt it. I'll pour it into the ring mold afterwards. The ring, it's already cold. I can safely grab it, but how is that possible? Will this work? Another inscription. It reads, Mr. Jeffrey tells me stories of Maddie from before the fire. She loved collecting things and gazing at the stars. He says he will always hold her near. His eyes grow sad and fill with tears when he speaks of her. I wonder if I might have been like her, were it not for her golden hair. Jeffrey must have told Rosie stories when they tended the horses. From before the fire, Jeffrey lost his daughter in a fire? She loved gazing at the stars. The journal is gone. Did I bring it with me before I left? An old telescope. I wonder if it still works. I'm not really superstitious, but could this mean something? I better make a drawing of this while I can still see it. 1,000,000 stars. Whoa! A lock of blonde hair. That I may once more stroke your golden hair. He held onto the locket all along.
Madeline Jeffrey, 1881 to 1885. Ugh, this poor girl left the world far too soon. Madeline Jeffrey, 1881.
Could this fit?
The last inscription reads,
At night, just before bed, I told Mama of a dream I had, that through a song I was turned into a butterfly. I flew o'er the houses and 1,000,000 trees. Dancing through the air, I felt so very free. I know I've seen a butterfly somewhere around here.
what the hell?
What's happening? How is this thing suddenly playing after all this time? It feels like something is leading me. What the hell is happening in this camp? It feels like something is leading me along, guiding me. Okay, I think I can place nails in the slots. That should work, I think. The small key actually fits. There's something inside. Patient, Charles Miller. Cause, injuries sustained in altercation with H. Grady, evening of August 4th. Condition, 2 ribs fractured, left side, heavy bruising to chest and flank. Treatment, binding of ribs, renewed every second day. Laudanum issued sparingly for pain. Warm compress applied mornings and evenings. Convalescence slower than expected due to patient's ill temper and restlessness. Full recovery estimated within a fortnight. Patient, Hank Grady. Cause, axe glance to left forearm while limbing spruce. Condition, shallow laceration, no arterial breach. Treatment, wound cleaned with carbolic solution. 3 stitches applied. Bandaged to remain clean and dry. Fit for light duty. Return for stitch removal in 1 week. No further concern. Patient, Morgan Wright. Cause, sprained ankle after misstep on wet wood. Condition, mild swelling, tenderness at joint. Treatment, cold compress applied, linen wrap for support. Rest advised. Recovery swift. Mr. Wright fit for dispatch evening of the 5th, yet retained for observation an additional night. Released morning of the 6th. Patient, Samuel Levine. Cause, burn to right palm from mishandling stoveplate. Condition, 1st-degree burn, no blistering of concern. Treatment, cool water immersion. Salve applied, aloe and tallow. Hand wrapped lightly. Cleared for duty next day to avoid heavy gripping for 24 hours. Patient, Edgar Flynn. Cause, bruising to the right shoulder after log slip on rollway. Condition, motion somewhat limited, no fracture suspected. Treatment, shoulder cleaned and examined. Cold cloth applied. Recommended 2 days rest and avoidance of overhead work. Patient disregarded advice and returned to the site before noon, despite my attempts at dissuasion. Charles's injury. Charles lies in the infirmary still, 9 days since his quarrel with Mr. Grady. I tend him only because it is required of me. His wound heals, but his anger does not. He speaks to me only in bitterness, as though I stitched his hurt with my own hands, or as if I were the cause of the quarrel. I wish these days would hasten on, so Charles may return to the forest and I might know some respite from his temper. Mr. Adams returned again this morning after the men had gone out for the day's work, asking after more laudanum. His hands trembled slightly as I measured the draft, and I warned him against taking so much. He dismissed me sharply as though my concern were but an unwelcome hindrance between him and the medicine. I fear he depends far too heavily upon the bottle. Yet he will not heed a word of warning. Mrs. Adams presented this afternoon in a state of great agitation. A mild sedative was administered, though it produced little observable effect upon her mind, understandably given the circumstances. Should fit. Okay, I think I can place nails in the slots. That should work, I think. A pair of butterfly wings. This must be it. Ugh, it's pitch black down there. I need some kind of light source. Was I led here? Okay, Charlotte. You need to do this. I won't turn back now. I think I'll use the door. What is happening? The lantern. Rosie. That's Sam and Hank. Rosie. Rosie. Tank, what did you do? How could you do such a thing? Rosie. Edgar found her. Oh my God. Say it. Say it. Say what you did, you goddamn monster. No. He didn't do anything. Oh my God. What? Liar. No. You goddamn monsters. What? You poor man. Rosie?
The mornings come crisp with frost that clings to the grass. The days grow shorter, the air sharper, and the forest, once alive with birdsong, now stands far quieter, waiting for the first snow to fall. I still feel a pull of nightmares and melancholy upon my heart, though of late it seems somewhat lessened, as if their weight has eased, if only a little. I do not imagine I shall ever be truly free of them. But perhaps, in time, we might coexist, like a welcome neighbors one learns to endure. Could it be that Dr. Williamson's recommendation has, in fact, proven effective? That this journal has done what no medicine ever could? If you are reading this, my beloved Rosie, I can but hope for your forgiveness. Your mother tried her best despite her sorrowful disposition, even if at times it might have seemed otherwise. Maybe you're a grown woman by the time you find this journal. Maybe you have children of your own. Maybe you remember the time in Deer Creek with fondness, as an adventure where every tree and meadow had its luster and mystery. I cannot help but marvel at you. You move through life with such innocence and wonder, and I'm grateful that my shadows do not seem to reach you. How bright and true your little soul is, my dear. My beloved girl, I love you more than anything in this world.